Hey everybody, how's it going? Glad to be with you. My streaming immediately went down, so we'll see if this is going to be another struggle like it was before. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Welcome to the Insta Good Show. Really glad to see you today. This is where we're helping you and your church get insta good at Instagram. Now, what does this have to do with coronavirus? Well, we're going to talk about some things that might help you today that, with live streaming and things like that. We want to talk about live streaming to Instagram. That's a big thing. We want to talk about some of the upcoming stuff that's happening, how to optimize your content, and some good old Instagram, tips and tricks and things like that. But we're also going to talk about live streaming here in a second. I'll show you what's going on in the world of live streaming these days. So let's get to it. News. Today, I want to show you that there's some updates to Instagram that are really, really cool. I'm going to move over here so I can put this on the screen. New things you can do. What is happening? Here we go. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So if you will go to your profile and tap on following, then you can go to followers and following, click on the following like you see on mine there. You can now see, look at that, least interacted with category and most shown in feed category. Really interesting. And now you can see Instagram segmenting some of your followers for you to show you kind of how you're interacting with people. That's pretty interesting. And down, look at sort by default. You can see all your followers there. If you click that little button, the up and down arrows that you see there to the right, it will do this and bring up this sort by list that allows you to sort who you followed by the latest people you followed or by the earliest people you followed. So it's an ascending, descending kind of by time sorting for your followers. So if you're running a joint account for your church, it's really, and you have other people following, working inside your Instagram, really helpful tool to be able to see who they're following, how we're interacting with people, etc. Now, going back to this, why would you want to do this? Okay. First, since you can see who you've least interacted with, you can see like what relationships you might need to build on. If you find some, like I'm looking at mine right there and going buffer, which I love, is in my least interacted with list. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to look up buffer and start interacting with them more so they'll see my stuff, I'll see their stuff, that sort of thing. And if you have a user like that you want to interact with more, it shows you how if that gets kind of in the red, that's helpful. Another thing, you can identify these niches that you didn't know you had. So if you look at the most shown in feed, now that's the algorithm telling you, here's who we're showing you, but it allows you to see a trend in what types of people that you're being shown. Because here's the deal: the algorithm works by like showing you more content of the people that you interact with. So if you're interacting with a niche group that you didn't know about, it'll show you like, oh, there's a trend here. I'm interacting with local businesses, or I'm interacting with predominantly men or predominantly women or moms or all my volunteers, or you can see that kind of trend in this most shown in feed because it tells you kind of how your behavior is affecting the algorithm in a little bit of a way. So that's really cool. It also can help you confirm or deny that your persona that you've developed for Instagram, who you're trying to reach, is either accurate or inaccurate, and allow you to make adjustments. You can see what types of accounts and demographics that you're hitting with your most shown in feed or least interacted with. If you see a bunch of people in your least interacted with group that you're like, that's who I'm trying to reach, maybe your content needs to change or shift then to meet the demographic needs of that group. So you see how this can kind of help you. It's not super detailed, but it can actually give you some insights to the behavior of your Instagram content feed, the algorithm, how it's all kind of working together. So I just thought that was a really cool little feature they've added to business accounts that you can see. I don't know if it's on personal accounts. I know it's on business accounts, but it's available to you. And I think that is a super helpful little tool to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening with your audience. Okay, so let's head on to FAQs for the week. The frequently asked question is, what size content is the best for Instagram? What should I be making? So I want to go through the different types of sizes for Instagram of content and where they work best and how you can use them. And it's really important that we understand Instagram content sizes because as you post different things, it does feel a little bit different. So I'm going to go through this real quick. Here we go. The first Instagram size that you need to pay attention to, let me get this closer, is the square. Square tends to be 1080 by 1080, and that's 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. It makes a square. I just made a rectangle, make more of a square. There you go. So it allows, the square is really good for a couple reasons. If you make content in a square on Instagram, it takes up a good amount of real estate on the phone screen, and it also translates over to Facebook pretty well. So it looks really good on your grid in your Instagram profile. So the square is probably the most versatile format that you could make things in. I typically make everything in 1080 by 1080, but it's not the most optimized for Instagram. And it definitely is not the most optimized for stories and other places. So, but it is the most versatile across platforms. So if you're using a square image, you can put that on Instagram and Facebook and be okay. And it'll look all right. And it looks good in your grid. So you kind of hit all those boxes, and it allows you to multiple post one piece of content you made. So if you're a social media director that doesn't have a ton of time to make a million different sizes of everything, it doesn't take a ton of time like in a Canva or something like that, but it could take time. You might need it. A square is a good way to go if you are the quickly overworked communicator. Raise your hand. A lot of us. So square is a good way to go. Next is the portrait. The portrait mode is the default way that like an iPhone takes a photo. And so for portrait mode, back this up just a little bit. It's like right in my beard. The portrait mode of Instagram is kind of a little bit longer. It's a rectangle, but it's a little bit longer portrait, and it's 1080 by 1350. 1350 being the height. And what this is probably the best format for Instagram feed. It also is probably the best format for Facebook feed if you cross post. The only catch with portrait is that on your Instagram grid, Instagram will crop that photo to a square. So it won't look as good on a grid as a square would, which is why I say the square is the most versatile. But that's really the only thing. If you're looking to take up as much real estate on a phone screen as you can on a feed for Instagram, portrait's the way to go. It's the maximum size vertically that you can post on Instagram, and it allows you a little bit more space, a little bit more breathing room for your graphic. They feel really nice. They feel very comfortable on the screen. A square is good, but this just feels like it's a little bit more dedicated to, as you're looking at one thing, you can't see the next thing to scroll to. It raises engagement a little bit because they can't see what's next. It focuses the user a little bit better. So portrait's probably the best way to go as far as optimizing your feed for not only Instagram, but Facebook as well. I would never share something like this over to Twitter from Instagram. This would be a disaster on Twitter. If you want Twitter, I've got one for you there, but let's move on to the next thing, which is stories. Stories is the 1080 by 1920. So it's 1920 tall. It's the long full screen of your phone version and optimized for stories. Obviously, if you don't put something this size in stories is going to add stuff to the top and bottom. And they're usually pretty good at that. It looks really nice, but it's not optimized for, anything but stories. Facebook story, Instagram stories, this works. If you're going to create a wallpaper for a series that your church is doing, stories is a great place to do that. Tell them to tap and hold the next screen. They can tap, screenshot it, and they got their wallpaper. If you're going to make graphics like that, stories is 1080 by 1920. If you want to put other sizes in stories, say for IGTV or something like that for video, you can. But again, Instagram is going to add to the top and bottom. 1080 by 1920 is optimized for stories. Let's talk about the landscape. Landscape is the opposite. It's just stories turned this way, or stories or landscapes turned this way, right? It's 1920 by 1080. So it is 1080 tall, 1920 wide. Here's the deal about landscape. Landscape on a feed for Instagram takes up the least amount of real estate on a phone screen. So it's the least ideal for Instagram feed posts. It is also the least ideal for Instagram stories or IGTV, even though it will take it. Not to say that it's terrible or it's never do it or anything like that, but it isn't the most optimized. And here's the catch. All your fancy cameras that capture your sermons probably shoot in this format. So when you get sermon clips from your pastor, they're going to be in this format. You can resize them to a square or a portrait or even a story. And if you've got high res enough cameras, it won't look too bad. You can do that, but it is a little extra work. But the landscape is the format that movies are shot in. Your screens or in your services are shot in this. Like I said, you can put this on here, but on the feed, but it's not optimized. It takes up the least amount of screen on your phone for Instagram on a user's phone, so they can be easily distracted, taking off your content, things like that. So I said there was one for Twitter, and this is it. If you're going to post something from Instagram to Twitter, this one can work because when a Twitter post shows the preview of your graphic, it might even cut this one. I don't know what the Twitter sizes are because honestly, I just don't care about Twitter. But if it could show a better preview if it's in the landscape form. If it's a square or especially a portrait, it's going to crop it. You're not going to be able to see it. It's going to look really bad. So I just kind of make a rule, never feed post to Twitter, like share from Instagram to Twitter, because I never make a landscape image on Instagram. I always make square, and that looks bad on the preview for Twitter. So I would never do that. So you have to make at least a separate set of content for Twitter if you're going to post from Instagram somewhere else to Twitter. Anyway, so those are the sizes for content on Instagram that I thought we needed to cover. A lot of us knew that already, but understanding how real estate on the phone is a super important part of Instagram, because people are programmed to do this or tap and go and side to side. They're just trying to consume content, and if they see options to move on and go forward away from your content, swipe on by, they're more likely to do that. And so if you take up more of that screen, then they don't have those distractions to take them away from what you're posting. It's a small psychological twist, and it will affect your engagement a little, enough to make it, you'll see it and it will be better. So it's just one of those fine-tuning things about social media that if you can do it, you should. If you can't, go with square. And thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, so that's the FAQ for the week. Let's go to tips and such. Today on tips and such, I've got a really great article to share with you from Later. Again, I love Later. They just make all kinds of incredible stuff. And it is 20 of the best mobile video editing apps for Instagram. I'm going to share this with you really fast here. I'll link to this down in the show notes here, but check this out. Number one is my favorite, InShot. InShot is an incredible app. It allows you to do all kinds of things with Instagram. It can resize photos, images, and look, we're talking about ratios. Portrait is the 4:5, and a square is 1:1. So if you didn't know that, but you can trim footage and video inside InShot. It's really a great video editing app, and there is a free version with a watermark, but man, I think the paid version is like $3. And it's so totally worth it. Go buy it. I bought it. I spent my own money, man. My own money on this. So my own $3 went to it. It might be $5 now, but it's great for editing, changing out backgrounds. You can see you can do so much with InShot. And I tell you, if you have InShot and no other app, you're probably solid. You're good. There's a couple others on here. I'll link to it. Majesto, I've never heard of that. They even suggest TikTok as a content editing app. That's pretty smart. Even if you're not on TikTok, use it to create content and then download your draft And now you've got incredible stuff for Instagram with a whole lot of really great filters and stickers and sounds and stuff. It's just a great, it really is a great content creating device. However you feel about watching it and being on it as a church, I could probably agree with you. Maybe it's not the healthiest place to be, but I'll tell you this, it's where a lot of people are. And so that's something to consider. And at least you can make great content with it. So that's a debate for another time. Wondershare, never heard of that, is on here. There's another one. Quick by GoPro is another video editing app. Really, really great. I think it's a paid app as well. There might be a free version. I used to use a GoPro app called Splice. That is the precursor to this, so I still have it on my phone. But I don't use that nearly as much. Mojo is a great stories app. Now, I've talked about Mojo on here before, but Mojo is really good at taking templates and for stories especially, and giving them the video feel and the video element and allowing you to pop videos in kind of like a template builder. You can see how it works here. You can just choose a template and based on and it works with photos as well. It's not just video, but then you can easily share to Instagram, Snapchat, wherever you want to go. Really great tool for making quick content on the fly that looks really awesome for your stories. And of course, you got Adobe Spark. If you don't know about Adobe Spark, that's a pretty common one that a lot of people request. But there was another Adobe product. Clips by Apple is good, especially if you want to add subtitles as you're talking. And if you don't have a subtitler, Kapwing, Kapwing, it can upload and allow you to add subtitles for free and then re-download your video. Really awesome. That one's for free. Adobe Premiere Rush. This is a new product from Adobe that if you have all the apps, you have this. And so this app is it's kind of like all these other things. It's made for social media. It's a social media creation app that they've introduced. And there's actually a mobile app version that you can get that works in conjunction with your desktop through the cloud. And so it's one of the probably premier apps for you to use on social media. A really great tool to check out. I've used it a little bit. I don't have the suite anymore. But I did use it a little bit when I had it, my last job, and it's pretty fantastic. Check this out. It works a lot like Adobe Premiere meets Photoshop. Really easy to use with a little bit of that over kind of InShot feel to it. It's kind of a best of all things. Oh, here's Over that I just mentioned. Over is a great app. So there's a ton of great apps in this blog. I'm going to link to this. This is a really great resource, and you guys can get those in the comments below when we get done here. So I don't want to go through them all, but just really fantastic apps for creating content on Instagram. So anywho, let's go back to that's our tips and such. And then today for Spotlight, I wanted to share a really cool post that I found on an Instagram account from vivemedia.co. And the owner of Vive Media, his name is Aaron Roundtree, and Aaron is actually going to be one of our Insta Summit speakers. What is the Insta Summit, you may ask? Oh, it's just this. It's just this thing. Insta Summit is coming up April 27th through 29th. Get a free ticket. It's online summit for mastering Instagram. Tell your friends, tag people that need to be at this. It is free, man. theinstasummit.com. Go get your free ticket. And if you want to get on demand, it's only $97. Really cheap. Really great resource. And look, that's Clark from Reverb Agency. They do like the SEC stuff. We've got some heavy hitters coming. Bo Coffrin is going to be there. Jason Caston, he works for AT&T. Of course, Kenny. Jonathan Malm. Amy Cottle from Fishhook is there. Amy Venturis from Saddleback and now at Bayside. And then Dustin Stout. I think he used to run stuff for Michael Hyatt. So just an incredible lineup of people. And of course, our queen bee of communications, Katie Allred, is going to be there speaking as well. So it's going to be really a great summit. I can't wait to share with you guys and host that because it's going to be fantastic. Make sure you get that ticket, go sign up for that. But one of our speakers is going to be Aaron Roundtree from Vive Media, and they put out a post on how to stream live to Instagram. So I wanted to run through that post really quick because it's super detailed. Go follow them on Instagram. It's an album post. You can swipe through it, but I'll take you through some of the finer points here so that you can see just how to do this. All right. So this is what it looked like. How to post on Instagram, stream your service to Instagram Live. So this is going to appear in the stories section of Instagram. So check this out. Look what it says first. Here's what you need: a video source, that's your camera; audio source, obviously that's your soundboard; computer, Instagram account, and then OBS. You could use Ecamm like I use as well. And then yellowduck.tv. They're both free. So there's your tools. Then we're going to take you through, here's how to install the software, get these things from Yellow Duck, Instagram, OBS, and make sure you got all these things set up correctly. And then it shows you how to resize your output. Check this out. Resize the output to the stories format so that you can keep that in the middle of your scene, right? So you've got this whole thing resized to fit into Instagram stories as you're exporting it. And then it tells you to sign into these accounts, get a stream key and access, and you'll copy both those things and put them in the right places in OBS. They show you how to do it. And then you just start streaming. And when you start streaming to your Instagram account, it will broadcast your service to your Instagram Live. It'll show up as a live for your Instagram stories, and it will notify all your followers, hey, so-and-so church is going live, and they will be able to tune in to your Instagram feed. And that is pretty flippin' fantastic. This is what it looks like. You'll have your top part of your feed scaled down to a safe area, and then you can put in other things like Pro Presenter, special formats and things like that. You can cut it together and adjust what you want it to look like in that entire story space, which is really, really cool. So if you have a hard time cutting to that whole section, you could put a logo down there at the bottom and just have the feed at the top. And then whenever you want to superimpose slides and such to the bottom through Pro Presenter, you can set up it to be feeding in the bottom section. Really cool. Lots of stuff you can do. OBS is a great program. I like Ecamm a little better, but OBS is definitely pretty powerful, and it's free to use, pretty powerfully. Anyway, that is how you stream your church service to an Instagram Live. I know that was super duper fast, but you can go back and watch this live stream later and pause and look at these, or go to that, go to their page and and look through it. Here's the other thing I didn't show you that they did say at the end of this little swipe, because they had 10 slides. I didn't show you them all, but it said, hey, if you want some specific help, DM them. So they'll walk you through it on how you can hook up your Instagram Live feed. And I know right now, with everybody being at home, you're streaming to Facebook, but you could also stream to Instagram at the same time. So if you're already streaming live to Facebook, you already have stream keys set up. You already have access codes. All you really have to do is go log into either Yellow Duck or figure out how to do it in yours and stream it to the key at Instagram. Stream it to your Instagram account, I mean. So it's there, it's available, and you might be able to do both of those at the same time. Now, I know I was part of a streaming program that was our host that could only stream to YouTube and Facebook. So you might have to go to the Yellow Duck and do a separate feed out of your camera and board for Instagram itself. So that might be something you have to do as a workaround, but you can do it. That's what's cool. And if you've got a younger church that's on Instagram, man, what a great time to be alive is that you can stream to Instagram. So get on there and let them know that you're going to be doing that. And make sure you tell people about it. Don't just start and go, whoa, 3 people showed up. Well, of course, you didn't tell anybody about it. So don't put all the work on Instagram to let your followers know that you're going to go live. Tell them about it, and you'll get more people there. So that's the spotlight for the week. I got some homework for you. Here's the homework, and it's for church streaming online. All right, here, check this out. Check it out. We're going to be doing a boot camp in church communications. Listen, if you've never been streamed your service, you have no idea how to set up online church, March the 23rd through April 3rd. They're going to do online academy boot camps and masterminds. So if you want to jump in that, go to churchcommunications.com/bootcamp. I think is what it was. Oh man, I missed it. Where was that? Go to Church Communications and just type in bootcamp. It'll show up. Church Online Bootcamp. It's going to be, let's see, March 23rd. So it's coming up next week. And we're going to train you on how to set up your church for online services. If you need help with that, obviously reach out. There's a lot of feeds going on right now in our Facebook group that speak to this. So start searching through those things. Hey, hit me up. I'm not a streaming guru, but I know some, so I can help you out and hook you up with the right people and get you started at least. So if you're getting involved in the online game, which a lot of us are right now, because we should be, to be honest, if our churches has anybody online at all. So if you're doing that, then this is a great time to get connected and find the people that can help you out with the easiest stuff. If you look at the banner in the Church Communications Facebook group at the very top, we're showing you a free online streaming service that you can sign up for and use. It's really easy to use. It's a basic thing. Before you start paying for anything, you just want to do this and test it. Great opportunity to do that. So check that out. That is the online church boot camp. All right. So, okay. That was a lot. That's a lot of stuff today. I want to leave you with something fun that Dave Adamson shared in the group. I'll let you take a screenshot here as we kind of wrap up. But it is online conference bingo. Is play video conference bingo, and he's got this great bingo chart. I'm sorry you cut out there. Can everyone see my screen? Hello. Really great stuff there. So if you want to screenshot that, make one of those for yours, or look that up in hashtag conference call bingo, and look that up in the group and download it and use it while you're it'd be really fun while you're doing your staff meetings online, your small group meetings, your volunteer meetings. Really great resource. So thanks, Dave. Speaking of Dave, he has a show on Fridays here in the group. I think 1:15, 2:15 Eastern, same time. And it's called YouTube Your Church. So if you're interested in YouTube strategies and understanding YouTube better, his show is really, really great. He does that here every week. He's supposed to be back this week, I believe. So make sure you come back and check that out. All right. Whew, man, what a great week. What a great, crazy week. And I know many of you are stressed out, and many of you are really just feeling it. And people who may have previously ignored you are now going, help us. And, that's cool. And this is a moment where you can really step up and help the church to communicate well and master some of these things. And I know, man, you're stressed. I know it is tough. And let me just tell you, I'm praying for you. Our church communications group, Kenny, Katie, and I, Dave, all those that are involved here are praying for you. We're cheering for you. We believe that you're going to be great. You're going to show up, and it's going to be awesome. We want you to let us know how we can help you. So hit us up anytime. All right, guys. So that's the Insta Good show for today. Thanks for watching. I'm praying for you, cheering for you. You're awesome. Keep it up, and go get Insta Good at Instagram. Later.